Buddy Row USA, our November 20th. It's our 40th broadcast. So we have an exciting show today. If you're just considering cutting back on expenses or you can't get to a coach, self-coaching is our topic with Alison Pollini. Hi, Alison.
Hello.
Hi. And she's at the Carnegie Lake Rowing Club. She's a former official with U.S. Rowing as well, and lives in the Philadelphia area, I believe. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I just packed up my boat for shipping to Florida to rowing camp.
Much warmer than New Jersey where I am, yes. It's unusually cold for November, which I'm a warm weather person. 70 and up is okay. 70 below is not.
I know. This rowing camp is at the end of December, early January, so it'll be the perfect time to break.
Perfect, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, we are going to get back to you in a second to talk about some strategies for self-coaching. And we're also going to hopefully talk to JULES ZANE, who is the referee manager and membership programs manager at U.S. Rowing, about a little preview of his track at the convention coming up in December. Anyway, we have in the booth, we have myself, I'm the producer, Charlotte Pierce, and we can run that slide, I think, maybe. And some of you are watching live, so thank you for watching. And those of you who are listening, we may refer to slides or visuals that you can actually go to the show notes and get the links, and you'll see what we're seeing. So our senior correspondents are Mark Wilson and Ryan Worth. Our assistant producer is Shannon Borum down there in Georgia. And like I said, Allison is a correspondent as well. And Tara Morgan, Will Ruth, Reba Knickerbocker, Ben Booth, and Michael Knowles, who are our fabulous coastal rowing gurus. Love talking to them about coastal rowing. And Ryan will be on a Sunday, I believe, talking about the Coastal Rowing Championships coming up in Sarasota. So we'll go on to rowing.chat is where you can subscribe. And this gives you a notification. We don't overload you with notifications, but sometimes we run an extra session and we like to, make sure that people know about it. So that's a good way of getting a notification when we have a session. We have also other podcasts in the Rowing Chat Network. It's rowing.chat if you want to go and check them all out. And we also have a great group of sponsors this month and this quarter. We have our executive producer, Rebecca Caro, did a whole section, a blog post on rowing gloves. So that is like the authority on rowing gloves. My personal ones that I have are the, sculling. Anyway, they're on the right. The ones that I have are on the right on this picture. Sometimes I can't think of two things at the same time.
I have a couple friends that row with those gloves.
Yeah, what are they? What's the company again? Sculling. Anyway, they're great, and the company is great. All the companies that she profiled, she tried all the gloves out, so those are a really good guide. The new sponsor this quarter is Rowing Related, and it's run by Brian Kitch. He's an independent journalist on the topic of rowing, and you'll find incredible resource. He's got a special for our listeners at rowing.chat/sponsors. You can find all that information. And again, if you have a sore rear when you're rowing, which is very, very common, you're not alone. This is the picture on the right is Danish lightweight Eskild Ebbesen. And he got not only a sore butt, but a lost feeling in his legs during long erg sessions. So This is a timely product to have for the those of us in the Northern Hemisphere who are going indoors for our rowing. But you can find more information on that and a special at rowing.chat/sponsors. So Alison, you came up with this topic. You've been with us off and on for quite a while, but what made you interested in doing a session on episode on self-coaching?
Well, so
tell us a little bit about where you row and stuff.
Sure. So I row at Carnegie Lake. That's in Princeton, New Jersey, and it's a pretty big club. I want to say around 200 members. 200 don't row. I'd say maybe half of that row. And we're an incredibly diverse club, which is awesome. That's what you want. You want to have everybody from all walks of life with all kinds of different goals, which is great. But you find yourself sometimes with either minimal coaching for the group that we have. Sometimes we've got 5/8 on the water and maybe just two or three coaches or whatever. And you have a range of talent in there and a range of desire. Some people want to come out because they just want to watch the sunrise. Some people want to, crush it down the course. And so sometimes, depending on the season,
watch the sunrise. That's a good thing.
Listen, we all do rowing for different reasons, so no judgment. But it's difficult when you're in the same boat and you're all trying to accomplish your goals. It's very hard to accomplish.
And you got the selfies. Yes.
We do have that. We do have that. So anyway, I found through rowing there that there's times of extreme frustration and what to do with that frustration when and it's not just me, everyone is frustrated because you're all trying to do different things, accomplish different things. So I have found that I'm in the boat and I'm trying to think, all right, how do I make this a successful practice for me when clearly today is a day that it's geared towards maybe the younger rowers, the newer rowers, and that's fine. Everyone has to start somewhere, but how do I get something out of practice when it's just a mix match? And that's just my personal experience, but there's plenty of people that train on their own that maybe are just getting into sculling or whatever, small boats that, they're experienced rowers in a way, but they're kind of in a single for the first time or a double. And they're kind of just, what do I do without a coach here or something like that? So that's kind of where I came with this. Cool.
Yeah. And I also wanted to ask you a little bit later,
Sure.
With erging and self.
Oh yeah.
Because long periods of time I go on the erg in the winter and I don't know, my technique, without a constant or frequent sort of correction, I feel like sometimes I just get into bad habits. And so maybe that's something you could cover.
Sure.
So what are some things to be mindful of when you're out there kind of working on your own technique?
Sure. So let's start with just say, for example, maybe like you're in a small boat, let's say sculling. I mean, this could even be like a pair, but let's stick to just say you're taking your single out, or maybe you and a double partner are going out there. It's kind of just basic stuff, right? So maybe you have a little bit of rowing experience, or especially if you've been a sweep rower for a long time and now you're kind of making that transition to trying out sculling. A lot of sweep rowers tend to have a palm or a full fisted grip on the oar, and that's appropriate for sweep. But in sculling, it's a more delicate blade, a smaller handle. So you're actually thinking more of like a fingertip grip than you are a palm grip. And you can kind of see that picture there, which was very convenient that I found that. Very, very convenient.
With the X.
Yeah, right. Like perfect. So it's really keeping in mind as you're just going about your daily practice that really kind of transitioning the oar grip to more of your fingers and kind of rolling the fingers out, rolling the fingers in, as opposed to using that big fist wrist flip that you're used to as a sweep rower. And that keeps things delicate and light. And that's kind of the concept of rowing altogether, is just keep it light, keep it light. So that's one thing to consider, is that fingertip grip as you're just rowing through the motions. And that'll take a lot of time, because if you're used to doing that palm grip, about every 10 strokes, it's like, oh shoot.
I know.
Gotta come back.
My hands tend to kind of migrate, especially my right hand migrates down the. Why is that? I mean, not my left necessarily, but my right.
Well, so I mean, that's very common in sculling. You're rigged to be higher left over right. I mean, that is the appropriate cross. And most people will rig very, very slightly, but just rig that left hand higher than the right, so you're not smashing into the oar handles. And so that naturally has that tendency.
We had a little sound interruption.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Sometimes.
That's okay.
Yep.
I was just saying that some people rig the left hand slightly higher than the right just to avoid smashing handles in the middle, especially as you're kind of learning. So having that left hand a little higher than your right hand, your right hand naturally will drop down. You'll pull in lower, you'll recover lower. And so you often find yourself listing on the port side just because you're just lower in general. So those are things. But yeah, as you're
how does that translate to the erg? You know, like, well, that's kind of, I was thinking about that last night, just like, how do I kind of practice that?
So on the erg, that's a great way to practice that fingertip grip and especially drawing like equal parts of the body, especially if you're going from sweep to sculling. You're used to really engaging one side of the body, especially pushing off one leg harder than the other. And that's hard to transition. If you've been a sculler your whole life, then it's usually easier to keep your body centered on the erg. But yeah, having that fingertip grip and really just hanging rather than wrapping your whole palm around the erg is an awesome transition from sculling, especially, into just erging. And just thinking about just engaging your shoulders and your arms equally as you're on the drive and recovery of an erg, or if you're sculling on the water.
Yes, my friend Sherry says, put your shoulder blades in your pockets, your back.
Yeah. Hey, that's definitely great. I have to remind myself, and I'm more of a sweep rower, but I have to remind myself to just drop my shoulders away from my earlobes. I like to get all excited, up here, and I find that especially in sculling, you really have to just drop your shoulders, drop your lats, just drop everything down, and kind of hang just equal pressure both sides. And so that really helps.
Your splits go up or down. Yeah. Like it's just, it's amazing. It's miraculous, really.
Absolutely.
Stop being so tense.
Well, and so when you're more balanced that way, when you're really focusing on hands crossing in the middle, that kind of stuff, the boat becomes less tippy, that kind of things. But your feet play a huge part in that as well.
So you're out there with a mixed group, say in an 8, and you've got some people who are more experienced and some people who are less. What are some good things to, like, not get frustrated, but how to deal with that?
Sure. I often find that, especially if, let's say you're in a mixed group and you happen to be the younger rower, all right? Because there's 2 opportunities. You can either be the more experienced one or the one that's inexperienced, and your coach decided, hey, today's the day you get to hop in the varsity crew, and you're like, oh, great, I just learned yesterday. So if you're that rower, if you're the one that's, pushed into a crew that's just way above your skill level, I would say focus on as basic things as possible and thinking legs, back, and arms. I know it sounds really juvenile, but it's something that really, honestly, you can't stress enough in the beginning. And especially if the coach is able to do pause drills, which may or may not happen, those pause drills are crucial. And a lot of people just go through the motions. But I would say really focus on, okay, if you're doing a legs only pause, actually, where are my hands? Are they over my shins? Are they over my knees or over my quads? And you want to be as far forward as possible, reaching for your toes and, just really segmenting the pieces, whether or not you have the pauses or not, doing your best to maybe over exaggerate, because we always think we're doing the thing. We always think you're doing it until you watch video and you're like, wow, I wasn't doing the thing. It's not at all like I thought.
We had Catherine Widgery, who's a champion, head of the Charles winner and Masters Rowing Nationals winner on the other day or a few weeks ago. And she was saying, like, when she goes out in her boat, she mostly does drills. And then her conditioning, she does, the race course frequently, but her conditioning is like biking, keeping her general fitness level up. But those drills, that was really something I internalized because, sometimes I just try to get through them, and then because I know I have to do them, but she's pays off for her.
Yeah. Well, and it's really, like I said, it's all basics, and even simple things like we talked about my shoulders and how my shoulders sometimes will come up. Another huge common mistake is just dropping that outside shoulder. I even kind of have a picture there to get the rotation. And sometimes that's due to flexibility, it's due to stiffness. I mean, there's a whole plethora of reasons why. But I mean, if you have the ability to concentrate on actually turning your shoulders squarely to your rigor as opposed to just reaching, that sometimes helps. There's a million ways to say the same thing, but just very simple basics: legs, back, and arms, dropping your shoulders.
Yep.
I mean, you could spend years working on those two things. So it's,
I know. Fortunately, you always have another stroke to practice on.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
And so if you're a more experienced rower and you've got a bunch of, like a mixed group, what are some things you can work on in that case?
Sure. So this one is my favorite. It's most relatable to me just because I've been rowing for quite a while now. I often find that closing my eyes is actually the biggest thing for me. I feel there's nothing that beats that experience of feel. I think as rowers, we spend way too much time trying to see, following by seeing. And it's not even about that. If we can feel it, it's better. So closing your eyes is huge. Relaxing the hands, allowing the fingertips to just sort of dangle off the oar handle as you're just reaching the catch, even if you're rowing at like a 30. I mean, it's the more you can practice this just, super relaxed feel, the better it is. And you'll just feel so many things you never thought. It just kind of takes you to a whole new level.
Awesome. Yeah. I have a sculling coach once in a while. John Sisk at Community Rowing in Boston. And his big thing is like, he'll get a stretch where he knows you're not going to run into anything. And as a single sculler, he says, close your eyes. No, John, I don't want to close my eyes. No, don't make me close. And then he says, just do it. It's okay. I got you. And it's so, I still remember the feeling of that.
Sure.
Yes.
Well, it's hard when trying to get yourself. These are all very basic things that coaches, we do all the time. But a lot of times people go through the motions without really thinking about what they're doing, right? We're doing pause drills. People just pause, but not why am I pausing? How am I pausing? What muscles are they engaged or not? So it's really important.
Am I sitting up straight?
Right. You take the most mundane, basic thing and try to elaborate in your mind to keep yourself focused.
This is so great. It's good. And there's some resources on US Rowing, like training plans and stuff you can use too, right? Yeah,
they just did an update of their website, but it looks like that's coming soon. You'll see a lot of stuff for them.
Okay, cool.
But there is and thankfully we have the internet and whatever, Google.
Yeah,
anything.
I mean, it's almost overwhelming. But the Sherry Kent, who's a referee, and we'll be talking to Jules ZANE in a second, but she's a referee, and she's telling me like people just don't go to US Rowing, and like there's all these free resources there.
There actually really
are. They're pretty well thought through too.
Yeah, there are videos. I mean, there really are a lot of things on there.
And what's this RowBot?
So this is so funny. So Esther Lofgren, who is most everyone I'm sure knows her, Olympic medalist, she just created this really cool, for lack of better words, app, if you will. And it kind of goes exactly with what we're talking about. It's like a little interactive thing. You get to put in what you want to work on, whether it's the catch, the recovery. It explains what those pieces are. So if you're brand new rowing, it says, okay, this is what the catch is, this is what the recovery is, this is it. And then it goes in, is this what you want to work on? And it gives you drills. Okay, I want to work on getting a faster catch, a quicker catch, or a smooth, whatever it may be. And it just gives you.
So you can use that on the erg as well. Sorry.
I think it's more geared towards the water, but I mean, of course, you can always translate these things to and from the erg. Okay. It's not always perfect, but it's the same concept.
Sure. It's kind of adapted in your mind. Yeah. I want to take a second here and introduce Jules ZANE, who has so kindly joined us from Colorado, I'm thinking.
Yes, I am. I'm in Colorado.
Oh, good. And tell us what you do at US Rowing and what you're going to be doing for the conference or what is it called? Convention, right?
So I am the manager of the referee program for US Rowing. So for the last 2 years or so, I've been in charge of that program, helping recruit new referees, assisting with things like logistics for championships, kind of being kind of in a way, a staff member who's a liaison between the U.S. Rowing office and all our volunteer referees who are out there, and there are about 600 or so of them. And at the upcoming annual convention, we really have some awesome programming. It's about 2 days of programming for kind of just referees or even candidate referees. Like if there are people watching or listening to this and they think, hey, I've thought about becoming a referee, I want to know more, you can actually sign up for the referee track at convention. And a huge part of it this year is a referee college that's really going to talk at all levels and for all kind of anyone interested in refereeing or who is a referee already, to kind of talk about the start, the race, and the finish and all elements of the jobs that referees do. We have a quiz, we have some other really fun items that I can talk about in a little bit, but yeah, it'll be, it's really 2 full days of programming for anyone who is an official or is interested in becoming one.
And what are the rewards, I mean, of being a referee? I mean, I can see that there are intrinsic rewards, like you're doing a good thing, but is there, I don't know, do you have parties?
Definitely, I think a lot of fun is had by people who are referees. To a lot of people, it's a way to either give back. So they were maybe collegiate rowers or national teamers in the past, and they want to kind of circle back to the sport, and this is a great way to do it. For a lot of other people that we see nowadays, they are parents of rowers, high school rowers, collegiate rowers, and they're fed up with spending 8 hours by the lake to watch their kid go by 30 seconds. And they're like, well, is there a way where I can see my kid row or warm up and actually have a better view and still contribute to this event?
Know, yeah. You don't have to sit in the stands. You just, so you have a driver when you're a ref, right?
For most events, that's the case. Okay. They have a volunteer force of launch drivers, and the referee can just focus on refereeing.
Yeah, I was talking to Susan Smith at US Rowing the other day, and she said they're actively recruiting referees, and that the parent thing is a factor. They're kind of like trying to make people aware of this opportunity. And, because by the time you've gone through, watched your kid row for 8 years or something, you kind of know a lot about rowing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So there's an application, background check, you get a membership and a referee number, and then you have the online training program.
Yeah. So you do an online training, and once you've completed the online training, you have to do observations in the various positions that a referee can work. So you're going to spend time at control commission, at the finish, at the start, observing kind of an already licensed official who just works with you through your questions. And then at the end, you take an exam that you have to pass in order to become a licensed official. And like you said, right now, if you become a candidate referee, you get a free membership with US Rowing. And then once you pass the exam at this time, also referees get a free membership just for being referees. So there is, some value in that. And then it kind of depends on the regatta. Like if you go to a US Rowing owned regatta, regional championship, national championship, there is compensation involved. We pay for travel, we pay for a lot of, there are plenty of things that are covered, but in the end, there are also a lot of people who, like Alison saying, people row on Lake Carnegie. Princeton hosts duels and tries against other schools there, and a referee will, be there for a couple of hours, and that may not necessarily come with the same compensation. I don't want people to think, oh, wow, I can do this to make extra money. That's not really.
It's not the.
That's not the case. But there are plenty of events where you do get compensated, and it is a lot of fun. Yes.
You guys are forgetting the free lunch. You're forgetting free lunch. People get free lunch. Big one.
Free lunch, yeah. And do referees get a lot of grief from the rowers, or is that like not a thing? Like, do they?
It happens. It's funny that you said it. So we do an annual survey where we poll our referees, and we ask them at the end of national championships to kind of rank various items of the event, and the interactions with athletes are often ranked as one of the more positive aspects of coming to a
Oh,
regatta.
good.
There are far more people out there who understand that, to be grateful that someone is volunteering their time to make a regatta happen is important, than there are people who are going to yell at someone. But obviously, if there's an objection on the water or there's a protest and it doesn't go their way, harsh words can be said.
Timbers can fly from there. Yeah, I have to tell a story. My first race ever was like a couple of years ago, because I've only been rowing for 7 years, but Cromwell Cup on the Charles River. And like this, I was racing down there. I was doing pretty well, I was like in the middle of the pack, and someone cut me off. It's just like having a lot of trouble just getting to the bridge or something. And I kind of thought, okay, well, that was that. And I didn't even know that you were supposed to like raise your hand at the end and say something to the ref at the finish line, before you. So I learned that when I went back up. I said, she cut me off, and she said, that was pretty bad. I saw that, but you have to say something at the end, before you finish or right after you finish. So, yeah. But it is a successful regatta if you're not seen. I like that quote.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So anything else? I want to encourage people to come, because I think this is a great opportunity, and, especially for people who have been watching rowing for a long time or aren't, actively competing in a race. But anything else you want to say about that?
Well, I think, one of the big, not a problem, but one of the things we're really trying to achieve with recruiting right now is to kind of deal with the concerns that we have about the growth. So we see a lot of events have more competitors, but we also see events pop up in areas where rowing is kind of new. 50% of our members are in the Boston to DC corridor. And so if I look right now at like what is a big concern for me and the team, it's that we have regattas popping up in Louisiana or in Kansas, and there isn't necessarily a local referee who can help run that regatta, who can advise the organizing committee and maybe make a connection with people who have to drive or fly in to actually make the regatta happen. And so if anyone's interested or has thought about it, but said, well, there isn't much local to me, well, that kind of goes two ways. So even if there isn't a local regatta, we would love for people to sign up, because it actually helps your local team make the step to bring in an event. And right now, that's one of the key reasons they're held back. So wherever you are in the country, if you've thought about becoming a referee, I would love to talk to you, because we need people everywhere.
And how do they reach you?
They can send me an email at jules.zane@usrowing.org, or they can give me a call at 609-613-6693. Perfect.
Well, listen, you guys, this has been great. I think we need like 6 more episodes on both of these topics. But anything else you want to add on this, Alison, or have you considered becoming a referee?
I actually have. And the only thing that stops me is I feel like I'm just too spread out. I'm rowing at all the events. For a while, I was coaching at all the events. I was even shooting for sport graphics at some of these. So I just felt like I was already there in other capacities. But a couple of my friends are referees. A couple of their parents are referees. It's cool. It's a cool gig. Really.
Cool.
Great. Yeah.
Well, we will see you all at the convention. It's in Philadelphia. What's the hotel again?
I think it's called Philadelphia 201.
201, yeah. And it starts December 5th and ends on the 8th. And Ready Row USA will be there. We'll be in the exhibit hall, and we'll have our correspondents roaming around. We'll have Tara Morgan, Ryan Worth, myself, and a coaching correspondent to be named later. And so look us up and stop by and interact. We'll be doing live sessions at 7 p.m. all 4 days. Well, 3 days, and then at 12 p.m. on Sunday the 8th. So to close out, I wanted to encourage people to keep sending club news in. We love to cover your club. It doesn't matter if it's in, Lower Slabovia, Kansas or something. It's important and it's valuable experience. Whatever your news is, please send it in. That's in the show notes. You'll find the link to that form. Also, the gadgets and gear is one of our more popular features. We're going to be doing next week on the 27th. We'll be doing a gift guide. And Shannon, our assistant producer, has been working night and day to put together a really great gift guide with some real fun stuff, like, good stocking stuffers. So we'll give you a little PDF that you can send to your non-rowing spouse or your friends to give them hints. Anyway, gadgets and gear are always welcome. And again, our sponsors, we are so grateful to them because they make it possible for us to, pay our internet bills and things like that. Rowing.chat/sponsors is where you'll find deals and discounts from our sponsors. And you can become one there too. Our hashtag for the episode is RRUSA Carnegie in honor of Alison Pollini, who's on our show today presenting self-coaching. And so if you use that on social media, you can win rowing gear and services. And a lot of the vendors that are giving us free stuff for the gift guide, we're going to be giving that out to people. So you can win groovy things, stickers, socks, all the things that people want, books. And we have our my headset is talking to me. Our crew is sweat equity sponsors. My company is Pierce Press. I publish books, children's, alternative education, and travel. And Mark Wilson is our senior correspondent who runs All American Rowing Camp, and he's a rep for AccuDock, which is a great dock system for rowers. Ryan Worth is in UT Chattanooga and Lookout, Chattanooga Rowing Center, great place to row. We love talking to Ryan, and he'll be back he'll be talking with, he'll be doing a special session with Mark on Sunday night at 7. Upcoming episodes, more U.S. convention or U.S. Rowing Convention coverage all 4 days of the convention. And we will hope to see you there. If you think you want to send us a notice of someone let us know, recommend someone to talk to, send them down to us and or grab one of our correspondents there. And please come, because it's going to be a great place to see your friends and meet new friends in the rowing community. Anything else we can add, y'all?
No, I think that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Jules, I was talking to Susan about you, and that you're doing great things there in the referee and membership programs, right?
Yeah. There are a couple of the membership things that I also do. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's get together at the convention, and we'll
sure.
do some recaps of the sessions and stuff. And I know you have the sessions are going to be recorded. Is that right?
Some are not. It kind of there will be a couple of rooms where so for various sessions will be recorded and will be available. Yep.
Good, and would let us know where we can fill in. Where that is. Something we can supplement.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. It's been great. And we'll see you Sunday night and next Wednesday as well. Thank you.
Great.
Bye.
Bye.